So I wanted to talk first of all a bit about Manchester City, because they came into their second leg with RB Leipzig 1-1 from the first leg. They would have been disappointed, having dominated the first half in Germany, to then have sort of, I don't know, eased off a little, and then RB Leipzig scored to make it 1-1. But wow, how emphatic were they in that second leg? 7-0.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
A message coming earlier on the top of the show about, talking about Man City, and I thought, yeah, we're going to talk about them. How can you not talk about Erling Haaland? Do you know the biggest disappointment?
Oh.
How
can you be disappointed?
No, disappointed that Pep didn't leave him on. Go and get a double hat-trick.
Score more.
He was just, his finishing was all about hunger. His hunger and desire, Erling Haaland, to score goals is incredible. He is chasing everything. So it's the bar, he's there, he's ready to pounce on it. He's getting goals that, there's a lot of players who have got a lot of ability, technical and everything, but his reactions to things to get goals is just sensational to watch. And there isn't no coincidence why he's getting loads of goals. He doesn't have to have do brilliant things on the halfway line. He is always looking to get to areas to score goals. And that was a lesson. And City 7-0, honestly, they demolished Leipzig. I mean, it was such a one-sided tie. And I actually felt sorry. I mean, that Guardiola had a great World Cup,
Oh, yes, defender, yeah.
He's playing centre-half, and he's got Erling Haaland up against him. And every time the ball went in certain areas, he was just pouncing on everything. And Man City are a side, if they get it together, because we're all assuming that Man City are not as good as last year. And that's why they're slightly behind. Mm-hmm. This Man City team now looks like the second half of the season, they're going to be better than they were in the first. Because they weren't quite the team in the first part of the season before the World Cup. They've come back and they're gradually getting the momentum going of a team that's going to do a lot of damage. Think about it. Arsenal away at the Emirates. What a performance that was. Mm-hmm. The way they took Arsenal apart. The way they beat Leipzig. They can knock out obviously Bayern Munich. They can, because they're good enough. And Bayern Munich are not quite as good as what they've been in years gone by. Sensational from City. And I think that's the biggest fear I have for Arsenal not winning the league, is that City are gradually getting slightly better. And Haaland, I mean, the idea of Haaland being a problem is just so laughable. I don't know any... And the coach of Leipzig said it in midweek, I'll have him. I think you can nearly have every club in the country go, I'll have him.
It's 39 goals is a problem then, isn't it? That's what he scored this season. I mean, he is not a problem, obviously. He's been absolutely fantastic.
He's a problem for the opposition.
Of course. Well, unless you're Brentford.
Okay, so was it Pinnock and me who marked him?
Yeah, it was, but it was just give him no space. Don't allow him an inch, basically. Listen, that might have been an off day as well for him as well, let's say. But it's 39 goals that he's scored this season. You're saying, keep him on for a second hat-trick as such in the game. Do players think about that? Is that something they're really desperate for? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He'd have been thinking, he'd be the first player to get a double hat-trick in the Premier League. His mindset would be that. And I can't believe... Champions League. Yeah. I was thinking... that when he was taking off, that he's probably he hasn't reacted to it. But I'm actually thinking he'd be desperate to do that. You go above Ronaldo and Lionel Messi; they haven't achieved it.
So you're saying then Man City could have a storming end to this season. Do you see them getting past Bayern Munich?
Yeah, I do. I think over 2 legs they'll beat them.
Okay, so that would set them up for a semi-final with either Real Madrid or Chelsea. Who do you see edging that one?
Well, if you said to me, do I think the best 3 teams, at them 3 teams, who's the best team? I'd say Man City. I mean, Man City had a really harsh lesson last year from Real Madrid. Don't get caught again.
So it sounds like you're saying that City can get to the final.
Of course they can, Nat. They're such a gifted side. Their failings in the Champions League are bizarre to me. They're really odd how they've fell apart in certain scenarios. You could debate whether Pep's got a little bit too clever. Just play who you need to play and set out the way you want to play, which is always loads of possession, and you're going to create. There was no way that Man City won't create against Bayern, and if they got Real Madrid or Chelsea, they will.
Okay, let's assume City gets to the final then, like you're suggesting. is Napoli going to be the biggest problem? And Napoli the side that they've got to beat to win that first ever Champions League?
Well, Napoli are definitely one of the most informed teams in Europe, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fearless in their approach of the way they play the game. They have Osimhen, who's a complete striker in many ways. Reminds me of a very young George Weah at his very, very best, which I witnessed at Monaco in the start of his career in France. He's a real problem. I'm sure that City, their failings in the Champions League, I've never really understood it, because they're very capable of winning the trophy that eludes Pep at City.